everybody. I'm your host, Melissa Ciudakis, and welcome to A Breath of Fresh Marketing. I'm here with Amanda Adams. She's a dancer and an aerialist with more than 1.6 million followers on TikTok. Hey, Amanda, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me. How are you?
I'm doing great. Well, thanks for joining us on the show. Very exciting. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm 24 years old. I'm living in the San Diego area in Fallbrook, and I'm living with about 11 roommates, and we're all training tramp wall and making TikTok videos.
Whoa, 11 roommates. That's a lot of people.
It is a lot of people, but it's very entertaining.
Nice. Are you just in like one big, huge house?
Yeah, since pandemic started, we've been traveling through Airbnbs. So we've been in Joshua Tree, Big Bear, and now we're in Fallbrook. So we have this really nice big house. Everyone has their room, and we have trampolines outside, and we're just doing the best we can during the pandemic.
Wow, that's really cool. That sounds like a lot of fun. So I know you're based in San Diego now, right? So Where are you originally from?
I'm from Orange County, so not too far away. Grew up here through high school, and then I went to UCLA for college. So I spent about 6 years in Los Angeles. So really hit in all the California area.
What's your favorite area?
San Diego's still new. It's been about 5 months, and so I think there's still a lot I have to explore to it. But I really do love cities. So LA, I could probably live there the rest of my life.
Oh, cool. Nice. So what are some activities that you were into when you were growing up?
Growing up, my parents were super active. They were both runners that did like Boston Marathon. So they would take us hiking, camping, running with them as well. I tried to do soccer, but I would miss most of those practices for dance practice. So when I would get on the field, I would have no clue what the coach was telling me. So my mom realized maybe soccer's not the fit, and she put me in more dance classes. And that was just kept going.
Yeah, you're like spinning and jeting and sashaying all over the field. And you're probably like,
I know at some point they were like, we'll give you $5 if you really try. And I was like, I guess. And they just took me out and realized dance and tumbling was a lot better for me.
Nice. Were there any artists that inspired you to dance when you were little?
When I was little, that's when So You Think You Can Dance really got big. And so me and all my friends, we would have sleepovers and we watched all the episodes. And that was the first time that choreographers were a little more mainstream. Like you knew who was making the dances and you could like follow them on social media. So I feel like that new wave of dance and like dance to the public really pushed me to start being more creative, to film myself, to just like see what I could make, even if I was young and it wasn't perfect. So,
nice. Yeah. So what dance styles did you initially gravitate towards when you first started learning?
When I was little, since I was doing tumbling, I would probably do like a lot of acro, jazz, really upbeat, fun things. But probably once I got to high school, I broke into the more contemporary modern world. And even now to this day, I say my favorite style is athletic contemporary. So I love incorporating flipping and handstands, all with the same fluid motion of dance.
Wow, that's nice. Cool. So when did you start branching out into aerial arts?
So for high school, I actually went to a specialized art school. So I got in for dance, and that's what we would do. We would do schooling, and then dance was for the next 4 hours after school. My senior year, we had a final project, and we could do anything we wanted. And I thought that it would be best to stand out a little bit more from my peers and try aerial. And I was like, senior project, I'm going to do silks. And I wish it was as easy as it sounded, because the second I took my first lesson, I was, holy cow, this is extremely difficult. And the video for my final project is just laughable. Like, it's hilarious. I still did it and I turned in a project, but I've grown so much since then. So that's actually what got me started, just as like, I bet I could do this. And I was humbled, but I liked the challenge and I kept going.
Nice. Do you have a favorite apparatus that drew you to doing aerial?
Silks and hammock probably are my favorite. There's some other apparatuses like lyra, which is a hoop, and then there's trapeze, and that's what I characterize as more hard bar apparatuses. And those look very good on like contortionists and girls that can get like their toes under their chin. And strength has always been my forte. So with silks and hammock, you're mostly doing a lot of climbing, and I really loved the ability to just sprint up a rope. Like I love being able to climb fast, and so that's definitely what drew me to aerial.
That's really cool. In what ways do you think training for dance and training to do aerial are different?
The initial learning curve for aerial is rough because a lot of times you don't have the grip in your hands. So I say rock climbing and silks are very similar. At least when you're starting off, you get the calluses, your hands don't want to open. You wake up the next day like this.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And also silks look pretty, but they hurt a lot. So you get bruises, you get silks burn, fabric burn. So you have to, almost every trick, you're going to be like, wow, this is extremely uncomfortable. And it's just repetition that eventually makes the discomfort go away. So as long as that's like the mental game you're prepared for, I definitely think aerial's for you. But dance is still extremely difficult, but the discomfort isn't present.
Yeah, for sure. So what does your process look like for learning a new trick?
So before pandemic, I was training probably 5 to 6 hours a week with a coach, and oftentimes they demonstrate, and depending on the comfort of the skill or if it's something I'm familiar with, you probably only climb up once, like 1 or 2 climbs, so only a few feet off the ground. You practice the trick, and once you get really comfortable, then your coach sends you higher. And once you get really comfortable in the air, then you start adding spinning. And then by the end of class, you're ideally putting it to music and performing it versus just learning it. But now with pandemic, I don't have a coach. I actually didn't have an aerial rig at all during pandemic. And just in the last month, we got a setup at my house. So I took an unfortunate year off from aerial. But now currently I'm just refreshing everything I've been doing, training on my own, going through conditioning. And now with social media, I'm able to learn combos from aerialists that I look up to. So currently I'm mostly learning through video, which isn't the best, but it's a fun challenge.
Yeah, I can imagine it being kind of hard to learn like all the moves through video because it's not there. Like it's better in person, right?
Yeah, and oftentimes having coach or other students, they can hold your feelings in a way, or at least they like can point out, oh, your hand's not in the right position, straighten your back leg a little more. Oh, you're totally fine, go higher. You're not getting any of that feedback, and so it's up to you to push yourself and film yourself and be a little more nitpicky.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I can see that. So how do you think the pandemic has affected your creative process for dance?
Creative process. It was interesting. So prior to the pandemic with dance, I was in rehearsals. I was performing 7 days a week. And initially the break was welcome. Like it was nice to get to relax. And throughout this year, I think I've realized I view dance almost like more as my friend and something that fulfills my heart versus something that I want to do as rigorously. I believe like auditions can really exhaust you. It kind of takes away your love for things when you're constantly on auditions, getting no's or getting yeses. Like the whole process of it can be pretty exhausting. And through this year, I've been able to lean more into dance of like why it brings me joy, why I'm creating anything, because there's not many dance jobs right now currently. So you're kind of connecting with your love for it. So this year is just, I do what feels nice. I create dances that just make me happy. And that's kind of the only reason for doing it right now. And it's just kind of sparked a new love for it.
Nice. So what inspired you to start posting on TikTok?
TikTok, the current people that I live with, it's mostly a group of boys that they all do trampolines and parkour, and they've all been performance athletes. And that's a completely new world for me. And so when I started, I met them just randomly at a gym, at a trampoline gym. And they were like, oh, you have to post on TikTok. Like we've been posting and it's been blowing up. And in the beginning, I was pretty skeptical, but I was like, yeah, what do I have to lose? And so since it's been a little over a year, but I've been posting once or twice a week, just the stuff that I do naturally, just giving people a little bit behind the scenes. And that was pretty much it. Friends told me I should, and I dove in.
Nice. Well, I have seen your videos and I like some of them, so I wasn't like stalking you, but you see me. I
Feel
just
free to
like
stalk away.
really cool stuff. Like I like watching you. I was watching on this trampoline and you're like running up the
Mhm.
thing, and um, I was like, you're like defying gravity, and then I saw you doing the aerial stuff, and like your legs were like so far apart. I don't even know like how you did that stuff. I just know I'd snap in half and like break everything. But it's really cool.
Thank you.
You doing that. It's a really nice talent,
Thanks so much.
a special talent. So what has it been like to watch your audience grow on TikTok?
That's been a really fun process. Just like anything, it was a slow growth, and recently in the last few months, it wasn't a slow growth. So over the summer, I felt like I had a really solid fan base, or at least of girls that are doing gymnastics and tumbling like me. And so it was great because they would reach out for me for tips or recommendations. And at that time, it was just really nice to share my upbringing and to hopefully just like remind them, like, just keep working and doing exactly what you're doing, keep doing handstands every day, and you're going to see a lot of growth. And now that my following's a little bit bigger, I'm not just getting the specialized niche of, people in tumbling classes. So now I'm getting to hopefully inspire every single person out there from like every background. So many people are like, how can I do this? And it's really great to be just like, oh, do a tumbling class, go to a parkour gym, just start in your living room, balancing on your hands. And it's been really cool. Not something I expected, but it's awesome.
Nice. Do you think that social media has helped us stay more connected over the last year?
Yes and no. I'm able to see what a lot of my friends are up to. And so I think that's how we're like, oh, I know they're doing well, but I know for me, I haven't been great about like phone calls or FaceTime. So I see a lot of my friends through social media, but I feel like I should connect a lot more with them through phone calls. So yes and no.
So you've gotten a lot of views for your trampoline content that you've been posting recently.
Mhm.
Really cool. How did your love for trampoline work start?
Trampoline was complete fate. I did not expect to ever get involved with trampoline professionally. Um, but that was, again, I was training with some people and I became really good friends with them. We all moved in together during pandemic, and pandemic, there was no option. My only option was a trampoline. And so I was quickly like, hey, I'm going to become friends with you, trampoline. And I just spent a lot of hours out there drilling, learning the basics. And by no means was it natural or easy. And I was not fearless about it. It's just taking time and committing to it.
Yeah, I'm totally afraid of heights. So
Yeah, me too. Well, I'm not afraid of heights, but I'm afraid of falling,
yeah,
which tramp wall is all falling. So I've really had to work on that.
yeah. Like I saw like all those like chunks of like cotton or whatever like around the external perimeter, like so you don't get like land on the springs. So
Mm,
yeah, I mean it looks like fun, and I think that part I'd be okay with, but it's the fear of like when I'm in the air, like you're like, oh, you don't
yeah.
want to fall because then you want to break something or get hurt.
Yeah.
So
There's the rainbow trampoline that I think a lot of people have been seeing me post on, where I'm running back and forth.
yeah,
Uh, that one's like the first time where I'm falling and I don't feel that, that feeling in your chest where you're free falling. So
yeah.
was really freeing because I'm just like jumping and hurtling myself through the air, and I don't know what clicked, but that one is really exciting.
Like I'd want to try it, but I'd be scared.
Yeah.
What's the tallest trampoline trick that you've done so far?
Well, so walls are all roughly different heights, but ideal is probably 10 to 11 feet. So we have 11-foot walls at our house, and some gyms have range from like 5 to 8-foot walls. So currently 11 is the highest I've ever bounced on. And I have a trick called a ball out, which is where you jump in and on the way back, you do a front flip to your feet. So
Cool.
doing that on the 11-foot wall.
I saw you doing that. The one I saw you doing it, there was a guy like sitting up on the platform. He was like on his phone or something.
Yeah.
And he would look over at you and you're doing your like craziness. You're like, you're jumping, you're flipping, you're running up the side. You're like, then you did another, where you were like one-handed sideways. I was like, this girl is no joke.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really cool stuff to watch. Like really neat.
Appreciate that.
So what goes through your mind when you're getting ready to do like a new stunt on the trampoline?
New ones, that's always a mental process. The boys I live with are always telling me to stop living upstairs and start living downstairs in your body. So just to remind myself that my body already knows what to do, and your brain, you got to take the leap. So personally for me, I also have a few Bible verses that I tell in my head to get myself to get out of up here, just to remind myself that I'm a lot stronger than I think. Besides that, it's a lot of adrenaline, and you just have to look past it and remember to squeeze your abs, squeeze your butt, and you'll probably be fine.
It's like a great workout.
Yeah.
And, probably a good way for me to lose some weight. So if I ever come and visit, we're going to do this. Okay.
Yes, it's really fun. A lot of great cardio, actually.
Yeah. It looks like so much fun. So, has there ever been a trick that you were too scared to try and you kind of like chickened out? Is there anything that's like on your mind? Like, I've yet to conquer this trick that you really want to master. Like, I know with certain sports, you know, there's like the half pipe, and it's like once you do it, then you're like, yeah, I did it. But do you have anything specific that you want to like really master?
So I'm only a little over a year into my trampoline training versus a lot of the men that I live with are on their 5 to 10 year. So every skill, there's like 5 basics where you land on your back, where you do a front flip up, I'm trying to think of more, but basically the baseline, you just start adding flips and you start adding twists to all of those. So everything, I'm still working on the 5 baseline skills. One of them is called a pullover. So if I'm standing here, I jump off, head is towards the wall, and I pull back over like a flip. So so that one, what's nervous for me for that one is that when I jump, the wall is behind my head. So the whole time you're looking straight into just the open scenery, you land on your back and then you send your feet back over to land onto the wall. Having it behind my head is just a weird thing that I haven't been able to get over recently. So to work on that, I put mats on the trampoline and I just work on jumping off and landing onto the mats. Okay. So that way it doesn't send me back up. So I'm actively working on getting comfortable with the wall being behind me versus the front flip. As I jump, I see the wall with my eyes and I front flip over the wall. So a lot of it's just visual.
Okay.
And getting over just little fears. And so yeah, there's baby steps like putting mats in there and people spotting me. Yeah.
Nice. Did you ever puke? Like all the spinning and all that and jumping?
I love spinning, so that's like never been a problem. I don't get car sick. So maybe that's why I do all of this.
That's good.
Yeah.
What advice would you give someone who wanted to get into like trying aerial or doing trampoline stunts? Like, what would you tell them?
I would probably tell them that just from watching videos, I can understand that it would be scary because you're seeing someone that's much farther along from their first day. So just like learning a language or learning anything, you're going to start from step 1. You're going to learn the alphabet. You're going to start putting words together. So whatever your first day is, I promise that coach that's going to teach you is going to make you feel really safe. You're probably just going to lay on your back and bounce, or just even bounce on your feet. So remember that there's lots of steps before what you see in a video. So just trust your trainer, trust yourself, and just be committed.
Nice. Is there anything creatively or athletically that you haven't gotten to do yet that you want to try?
Most recently, this just became a big fascination in the last month for me, but I really want to do indoor skydiving. I've seen it where you're kind of like in a big air tube and you're able to fly up and down. And I think if I had it available to me, I could get really good at it. But I know that's just like a connection, like, and probably money. So some indoor skydiving place, please sponsor me, and I promise I'll do really well.
So what's on the horizon for you?
I recently got engaged in December,
Oh,
and
nice. Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. So the wedding is in May, and then we got a contract just doing a show, a tramp wall show at a theme park this summer in Ohio. So I'll be in Ohio for 2 months, and from there, I'm just hoping the rest of the world opens up. So the shows that I was performing in, if they open back up, I can perform there, or just completely new ones.
Nice. So he does
Yeah.
what you do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really exciting. And just with TikTok taking off, and hopefully we'll start doing more YouTube. And I'm just hoping that the creating content on sharing online just opens a lot of freedom for where I can travel and where I can train. We have goals of putting tramp walls in Ecuador and Puerto Rico. We want to take tramp wall to Europe. So I'm hoping that if I just stay consistent with social media, that we'll eventually get to a place where we're able to share it more globally.
That's awesome. And how can everybody find you on social media? What are your handles?
Yeah, social media, I'm at amandas.adventures on TikTok and Instagram. And for YouTube, if you just go into my socials, it'll be in my bio.
Nice. Well, Amanda, thank you so much for being on the show. It was a pleasure. Keep spinning and jumping, and be careful. But I look forward to seeing more cool, crazy stuff coming from you. You're a lot of fun to watch. And
thank you. I appreciate it.
It's really cool stuff. So, all right.
Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. All right. Be well. Stay safe. And thanks for joining, everyone.